One of the biggest and most monumental weeks, good, bad, or indifferent, for LSU football than I can remember. You know, there have been monumental moments when Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow won Heisman Trophy awards, when Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase has done some of the things that they've done. You go back to the Les era of 2007, and listen, 2011 at the end of it sucked. There have been massive monumental moments. This is about to be one of the biggest because, guys, you're in a completely new era of college football where you have ESPN trying to expand the playoffs along with the Big Ten, which is crazy in and of itself because ESPN doesn't even televise the Big Ten's games. You have NIL, you have the portal. Everything has changed. And quite honestly, since it's been here, you have not been able to take that next step. You know, it took you 8 years to get back to a national title from 2011 to 2019. And it felt like a very long drought for you because it was. It was a long 8 years. But now you sit in a situation where someone's going to emerge out of this pack. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Lane Kiffin latest. But the biggest thing in all of this is this will be and go down as one of the biggest monumental situations, moments in LSU football's history. You have a $53 million coach that gets fired along with an AD because politically a governor wanted to intervene on something that made us all look at this situation and say, well, we know that they're meddling. We don't like all the publicity. But once that has gone aside and once that is behind us, well, this team actually now has to hire a coach. This team has to go out there and hire someone that can point them in the direction and in the right way, whether it's Lane Kiffin or whether it's not Lane Kiffin. The crazy part about this is you have a sitting governor whose political career could literally be on the line for what might happen on Friday or Saturday. You know, I posted a meme. I like using movie references. And it's not even a meme, it's a GIF. Excuse me. I posted a GIF last week that said, Friday, we're in the endgame now. Well, I think that you're in the endgame. And I do think a decision's coming this week. What day? I have no clue. I have no clue. I've heard that this thing is going to end before Friday because there's no way leaks can't get out. And I've been told that more than once. That from people around LSU, I've talked to people around Florida today and this weekend that, listen, man, on our side of things, we don't know how this isn't going to get out, right, wrong, or indifferent. I've talked to national people that I have, being in this business since 2017, have really gotten to know very well and gotten really good relationships with. And all of them have said the same thing that, guys, I don't know how this lasts, or Blake, I don't know how this lasts until Friday of the Egg Bowl. Like, I could see College Game Day happening on Friday or Friday morning, or being in a situation where Saturday you're looking at College Game Day and LSU might or might not have a new head coach. This thing might happen on Monday where this coach is announced. None of that we know. But you're staring down the barrel of a gun of where is the direction of this program going to go. And the truth of the matter is, I know that your Uncle Billy Bob, I know your Uncle Boudreaux down at the camp, I know your Uncle Boudreaux who's bringing the oyster dressing this weekend or this week for Thanksgiving has told you this is done. It's over. And throughout the day, I've taken to Twitter and I've seen people post like smoke coming out of a chimney or the Vatican sign that we have a new pope. You're in a dogfight. You're in a dogfight. Whether Florida and Ole Miss retaining Lane Kiffin is actually realistic here, which I do think that it is, if it's realistic, then you're in a dogfight in that direction. But I also think that you're in a dogfight with Jimmy Sexton. And I do think that Jimmy Sexton's going to take your lack of experience in this situation, because you got people on the board of supervisors, you have Wade Roos, you have Verge Alsbury, who have never hired a head football coach, and with going up against Goliath, the literal Goliath who runs the sport. From this angle, the man who has made this sport and made a name for himself for being the super agent. The Drew Rosenhaus of college football is Jimmy Sexton. And you're staring down the barrel of the gun. Now, before we get into all of this, before we talk about Lane Kiffin, before we talk about his press conference, before I get to your comments, there's one thing that I want to say. And I've said it before, and I think it bears repeating, because I know how this place is. I know what's going to happen if you don't get Lane Kiffin as an example. And I want to get it out there just so we're all on the same page. I am proud to be an LSU fan right now. From the things that, whether it be 2 Thursdays ago, and I tell you, hey, man, LSU's about to start making some waves here. Then it happened. Then we have a show, and then the Friday after our show, national reports are coming out everywhere to give you the preface of what was about to go down, and it does. I just got to admit this. I am proud of how they've handled this situation. They haven't backed down. Does not mean that you get the guy that you want. But from the things that I know and the things that I've heard, the things that I've seen and not seen, the one thing that is true, you ain't backed down. You've been countered. You've been mocked. You've been pointed at and laughed at. And then every time that any situation has happened, LSU's just responded, okay, that's what you want? Go right on ahead for it. Go right on ahead. We think that you can lead this team to a national title. Okay. Jimmy, you want to counter with something else? Go right on ahead. Go right on ahead. Autonomy is lanes. Can Florida say that with still interviewing general managers? Oops, did I let that slip? Things start getting interesting here. I am proud of the board of supervisors. I am proud of Wade Roos because the way that he handled this thing in the beginning was dog water. I'm proud of Verge Alsbury because, quite honestly, he's done a lot of really good stuff in this. You know, if you live in the world that I live in, and you have, which, by the way, sidebar, I don't care about your little kid's T-ball or your little kid's flag football game. We're not going. We're not shooting film at your little kid's T-ball flag football game, whatever it is. I say that to say, if you get the DMs that I get, if you talk to and see the situations, if you read the text from some of these people, it's over, it's not over. It's over, it's not over. The only thing that I know for sure is that you hadn't backed down. You don't want to hear that because now that you've gotten into this fight, you want to win on the Lane Kiffin sweepstakes. To be blunt with you, I'm right there with you. I do think that the people who have said, for what it's worth, that this thing is over, I think that's a little premature. Just a tad. In any direction. That can change in 10 minutes. I've been on a show for 2.5 hours. I haven't been able to make phone calls. I'm proud to be an LSU fan, and I'm proud of what they've done. Win, lose, or draw. But now we got to get into the reality of what actually is happening. Do us a favor. Hit the like and share. Share to all those groups. If you're on Facebook and to all those social media pages, you're watching us, listening to us on YouTube, just stop. Stop what you're doing. Do me one quick favor. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all that I ask. You can hit the like button if you would like to. But the only two things that I ask, hit that like button, hit the subscribe. 60% of you have still not subscribed to the YouTube channel. Just do me a favor. It just helps me. We're entertaining you for however long, 30-minute clips, 20-minute clips, 2-minute clips, or the whole hour-long show. The only thing I ask on YouTube, go right down below and hit that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. Wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. 318, continue to dominate. I'm going to get T-shirts made. Y'all keep dominating on the audio podcast side of things. I posted an article, sidebar, about a month and a half ago before Brian Kelly was fired. I am honored for all of you that listen to the audio podcast. Number 2 in the state of Louisiana from audio listened podcast. That's all I'm going to say. I need all of you to go over to Apple or Spotify. Just give us a 5-star rating while you're at it. You're sitting at your desk in your cubicle. It's Thanksgiving week. Just go over there and do it. That's all I need from you. Trying to get to, as Ludacris said, the number 1 spot. Hashtag gold member. We greatly appreciate all of you that are listening to us on the audio podcast. All right. I see that we got some comments in here. I see that we have some super chats. Idaho Tiger fan says like, comment, and subscribe to AYS. That is true. And every AYS show is going to be brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel, by the way. Download the FD Sportsbook app today. Use your mobile device to do it. Download it and start betting games with your family this weekend. I know it's what, or this week. I know it's what I'm going to do. We are proud to be partnered, and we are proud to be powered by and partner with our good friends over at FanDuel. Any thoughts, questions, concerns, go over to FanDuel.com/RG for more details. Michael says, lane train or not, with a $5 super chat. I don't know. I think everybody's giving an opinion right now because I don't think this is over. Not yet. I do think by Wednesday, Thursday, I think that this thing starts getting really interesting. The heat's starting to turn up. Guys, you're in the end game now. This is the week. Like, I would be utterly shocked. And I mean this based off of just things that I heard. And I guess it could happen. Anything can happen in a coaching carousel. Anything. So to say you're 1,000% confident on something, I've learned in my time I'm never going to do that because things can just change in an instant. Come Wednesday, this thing's going to get juicy. You know them big girls that wear them shorts that says juicy on the booty? That's how level of juicy it's going to be. She's got the JU on one side, the I in the crack, and the CY on the other cheek. You know what I'm talking about. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Juicy. Anyway, Frankie with a $2 super chat says, Reveille damn near gave me a heart attack today. Yeah, the Reveille, the school newspaper, God bless them. God bless them, man. You got to love them. You got to love them. Listen, I'm not going to come down hard on them. I've been seeing a lot of people today in our media corps kind of coming down on them pretty hard. I'm not going to do that. Listen, I still misspell words on Twitter. I use talk to text. I need to stop. I use talk to text like I'm an old man. Guys, you have preloaded stories that are ready to go. You do. Guys, I'll give an example. Tyler, I'll use his name. Tyler Alexander and me went out to eat one night. And I was on the phone before we walked in. I had just gotten told that it's about to go official that Nate Yeske was going to be your pitching coach. So Tyler hears the conversation. We walk in. We're going to eat. I'm like, listen, it's about to go down. So listen, just bear with me. And you can ask him within 5 minutes. I got to go ahead to run it. I ran it. We ran it. And it was over. It was literally how it went down. You have preloaded stories based off of conversations that you've had. Now, Tyler gets to hear our great sponsor gets to hear and know the conversations that we have behind closed doors, which a lot of you call fake. But you have preloaded stories, and it is very easy. Like, I'll never forget one time we were hiring a coach, and then there was a recruit that was committing the same day, and I accidentally copied and pasted one of the things we were going to post, and bad stuff happens. Accidents happen. So I'm going to give them a little bit of grace here, but I understand if it gave you a heart attack. Frankie with a $5 super chat says, if we don't land Lane, Blake Ruffino for head coach, go AYS and go Tigers. They can't afford me. I mean, I'm just being honest. They can't afford me. Michael says, as embarrassing with a $10 super chat, as embarrassing as it is to say LSU might be the biggest letdown team of the season, from top 10 and a Heisman projected winner to a team that has completely fallen apart, tough pill to swallow. Yeah, I still think it would be Clemson. If you're asking me, because ironically, you're still better than Clemson with a hurt quarterback. So, by the way, we'll have a whole conversation when this thing's all over with about the quarterback situation. Oh, good Lord. We're just going to call you WH1. WH1 became a member on the YouTube channel. Yes, we will have some members-only content that will come out tomorrow. Everybody's like, you told us today. I went back and listened to Saturday's show. I said, no, I thought I said Tuesday, and we did. We'll have some members-only content coming out tomorrow. We hope that you are there with us. Stephen Young says, if LSU misses Lane, just hire Dillingham like Jay Johnson of football. I like Dillingham a lot. I do think that when you talk about my opinion with Dillingham, he would be my number 2. I don't know if Eli Drinkwitz isn't LSU's number 2, for what it's worth. Rolo with a $10 super chat says, Blake, there are reports that if Kiffin comes to LSU, Austin Thomas would not be kept on. Thoughts? Can you send me the reports? Here's what actually, Rolo, let me do this, okay? I'm going to get into that in just a moment. I wasn't going to specifically talk about Austin Thomas, but just stats, things that I've heard, you'll get it. We'll talk about staff. I'm not ignoring your super chat. Rolo, we're going to bring it up when we come out of the break here in indirect ways. K-Dog with a K-Dog 2532 with a $2 super chat says, Blake, new ESPN report with Brian Kelly. Read it. Oh, boy. Because, of course. Thank you, K-Dog. I just saw it. We'll get to that next out of the break. Stay with us. Hit the like and share.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man. He's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler. He'll shoot you straight.
Hey, guys, I want to tell you about our good friends over at Red Stick Financial. They're your local residential mortgage broker located right here in the heart of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. At Red Stick Financial, they find the bank that works for your particular set of needs to purchase the home of your dreams or refinance the current one. They truly are your partners in this process, and they pride themselves in helping individuals and families with one simple goal in mind, and that is to make home financing approachable, attainable, and stress-free. They are licensed in all Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi. So from Amarillo to Meridian and everything in between, they have you covered. Red Stick Financial brings you creative, customized solutions, and they don't believe in the one-size-fits-all when it comes to loans. They even have special options for mobile and manufactured homes located in a flood zone and stated income financing for those of us who are self-employed borrowers. If you or someone you know is looking to buy a home, refinance an existing mortgage, or simply want to know what options are out there for your future, give Red Stick Financial a call today at 225-407-9250. That's 225-407-9250. Or check him out online at redstickfinancial.com. That's redstickfinancial.com. Before you purchase the home of your dreams or you go and do that refinance, you need to go local. Go Red Stick.
We're back.
Very quickly, Brian Kelly's trying to get back into coaching, so he says. Article came out just as we were coming on about Brian Kelly trying, or LSU and Brian Kelly's exit is hurting Brian Kelly in reference to him getting another job. Okay, couple of things on that. I've known about this for 2 weeks. Believe it, don't believe it, doesn't matter. Brian Kelly is trying to get back up north, from what I've been told, especially if some other jobs open up. Here's the thing. You could settle with Brian Kelly if he's taking another job, because that would reduce all of his buyout for what the next school owes him. Brian Kelly wants all of his cake and to eat it too. And LSU is just waiting him out because they can. If you want to go coach, go try to take an interview. I don't think that's what's happening. I think the rumors surrounding Brian Kelly and him being 64 years old is really the reason as to why teams don't want him. The job that I heard that he wanted and actually been told and confirmed through multiple sources isn't even open yet. Could be at the end of this weekend. Come up with a buyout number to Trace Armstrong and company. Come up with a number, and if you want to go be a coach somewhere, go take the job. It's impossible because LSU said that you were doing things and they were going to terminate you with cause. That's the reason. You're saying there is no cause. Well, if you don't want this thing to get to discovery, take the $25 million lump sum and go bye-bye. BK don't want this one, brother. He don't want this stuff to come out into discovery. You want to go back to the Midwest? By all means, do it. But I would just tell you, take that $25 million lump sum and live to fight another day. Take half of it. If it were me, I would want all of my money too. But there's a part of the contract for Brian Kelly that if he takes another job, those salaries all set through his buyout. See James Franklin. See how clean and professional James Franklin did it? Hey, let's come to a settlement number. I want to go coach somewhere else. End it. End it. Well, why would Brian Kelly do that? Because this could be it for him if he really wants a job. So here's the thing. Brian Kelly apparently wants to coach again. Sounds good. Well, you might not be able to until you take this. They're playing hardball with you. At some point, you just got to take the money and move on. I get it. You want all of your money. But if LSU finds out that you're going somewhere else, they're going to settle with you anyway. And the way that you win out is by taking the large lump sum and going somewhere else. Wipe your hands of it and go on. I've defended BK where it was deserved, meaning I've defended him. Scott meddled a lot. There's been a lot that's happened. I'm telling BK, in my humble opinion, I know what your attorneys are saying, but I hear from little birdies on what they're coming out in discovery. You know that, and I know that. The best thing for Brian Kelly and LSU is to take the lump sum and move on. But, of course, Brian Kelly's going to keep throwing shots at LSU, and I don't think that you want that because you won't coach again, because they'll put claims in there that they might not be able to justify, and it is what it is. Because the only thing LSU needs right now is discovery for public perception of what you're doing to get that buyout reduced. Brian Kelly, I've heard, wants to coach again. I've also been told he does not want this going to discovery, and he wants it over now. They're not giving you or going to agree to your $53 million. They want you to come to the table. And by all means, I think it's in Brian Kelly's best interest to do that. You know what happened, brother. Come on. Come on. Don't make us go down that rabbit hole. That's all I'd say. I don't think he'll do it. Personally, I don't think he'll do it. But It's in his best interest to do that. All right, let's get moving here. I know why you're here. You want to talk about the Lane Kiffin latest. Today continues in yet another long day. Another day in a long process, which feels like for me at the current moment that it's been about a year. I feel like I've been in this coaching search for 6 months. But Lane Kiffin did take the podium today for Egg Bowl week. And it has been reported, I think you know and I know, regardless of what LSU says, regardless of what Florida says, regardless of what anyone says, the top target for Ole Miss to retain their coach, Florida and LSU, is Lane Kiffin. Guys, there are going to be reports from people that come out and they say, listen, we really weren't after Lane Kiffin. We never spoke to Lane Kiffin. Guys, that's all a lie. You can't ignore it now. And if the trip to Baton Rouge didn't mean anything, guys, why would they have been here? You know who you're going after. We know who we're going. We all know this at this point. So, to recap what we kind of briefly in this long saga have gone through, Saturday we talked about this in the postgame. A direction from Ole Miss came out on Friday where their chancellor and their AD, Keith Carter, came out and said, Coach Kiffin will make a decision after the Egg Bowl. And I had a lot of pretty harsh words for Ole Miss. I think they were deserved. I think Keith Carter, quite frankly, has been pushed in a locker here over and over again. I think he did leak the ultimatum. When he leaked it to get pressure on Lane Kiffin, him and Jimmy Sexton didn't balk. And then when you went to why do you have to have a meeting if he wants to stay? You're giving him an ultimatum, sign this contract or you're gone. And then he said, make me. Make me. It's like the guy at the bar who bows up for a fight and says, you want some of this? And then you stand up and he sees you and he's like, oh, you go, oh. You can't back down. You'll look bad when you do it. Let's call it what it is. Ole Miss fans are defending Keith Carter. It is your right to. I'm telling you. Lane walked in that meeting and said, do it then. They didn't. He got what he wants, which he's been getting the entire time because you have constantly gone through indecisions over and over again. So you fast forward to Saturday, you fast forward to Sunday, and a lot of people thought on Sunday, hey, man, as bad as this has gotten, is Sunday going to start a day where Lane Kiffin's not going to be the head coach of Ole Miss? Then today happens. You go all through the day yesterday, and guys, to be blunt with you, there were some things that I heard there, but teams are battling in this. Florida's battling, LSU is battling, Ole Miss is battling. I do feel like that Ole Miss thinks that they're just out because of, again, yet today, Lane Kiffin's actions. So Lane Kiffin went to the podium today and was basically said, I'm going to talk about the game. I am going to talk about the players and going into this game. I'm not answering your coaching questions. Didn't stop Ole Miss people today in his press conference from trying because they did. 3 times today, Lane Kiffin was indirectly asked about the ultimatum. He was asked about the decision, and he just said, I'm not answering that. Quite frankly, I'm not answering it. It just continues to point in the direction that he's leaving. Guys, I got to be blunt with you. Regardless if he stays or he goes, if he stays at Ole Miss, everyone's going to be like, they were trolling us the entire time. They might even backdate that he actually signed the contract. That would actually be in bad faith, though, and I think Jimmy Sexton wouldn't do that after the governor kind of put some pressure on him. I think Jeff Landry would go after him if that happened, and he would deserve to. With that being said, he's not trolling here, guys. The reason that I know that he's not trolling here is because they are talking to LSU about potential guys and players, or coaches that potentially would be on Lane Kiffin's staff. What is the ultimate autonomy that he would have? Now, I had a super chat earlier from Rolo about like Austin Thomas. Guys, I got to be honest with you. I am going to bow out on this. I think it's all speculation of who stays and who goes at this point. Guys, Lane Kiffin hasn't even been hired yet. Do I think that everybody, both at LSU and Florida, have an idea of what would happen if he were to take their head coaching job? Yes, I have a really good inclination that everybody knows. A part of that, too, is like Ed Orgeron being reported that Ed Orgeron would potentially be on Lane Kiffin's staff if he comes to LSU. Well, that leaks out because of Ed's agent, got that part confirmed. The Orgeron camp has not kept their mouth shut. That, listen, if Lane does decide to come here, I had told him I would be your D-line coach. Good on Ed. But vetting has happened. In reference to Austin Thomas, I don't know. I mean, Austin did leave Lane. How does Lane, who has kind of been petty to some extent in all of this situation, is he petty against Austin Thomas? Does he bring his GM? Now, if you listen to the Florida side of things and you bring up like Austin Thomas as an example, like Florida people are saying that they think that they could have screwed up a little, or Strickland could have screwed up, their AD could have screwed up a little bit because he kept interviewing GMs for the football program, and it seems like Lane wants to have that autonomy. He wants to bring his guy Glasscock with him, or if he stays or if he goes, that's who he wants. In reference to Austin Thomas, guys, I just don't know. I don't know what will happen with staff, nor am I – guys, we haven't even hired the man, and we're talking about potential staff. I just think that that's foolish. But want to know why it's not a troll job? Because those conversations are happening. You're not going to spend that amount of time in conversations about all these intricate details if you're not really looking into it and getting all the information that you can get. It's not a troll. If he does not come here or if he stays, it's just not. And that's the reality of it. But to the main point, Lane just refuses to answer these questions, which then gives LSU and Florida hope. You know, as these things continue to go on, I haven't given like percentages. This is where I've been the entire time. I saw a report today. Somebody wrote like a report on CBS saying that Blake Ruffino said that at one point he was 90%. I was never at 90% saying LSU. I've stated the exact same. I'm at 40 LSU, 40 Florida, 20 Ole Miss. And quite frankly, you can go 45-45 for all I care and go 10 for Ole Miss. I just don't think he's going back. I don't know if he's going to be allowed to. It just every day that he walks the podium seems like he's leaving. We all see this. Now, if he does stay, I just think he had a change of heart and he doesn't want to leave a place that he's built, and that's okay. This is played out publicly for calendar issues, and I'm not going to continue to go down that. But there were a couple of questions that Lane Kiffin was asked today. Brad Logan, who we've had on the show multiple times, asked Lane Kiffin, you're 2 wins away from a winning percentage standpoint from being the winningest coach in Ole Miss's history. And I thought Brad asked a really good question. I like Brad. Brad does an amazing job. Y'all should go follow him from the Ole Miss side of things. I don't think Lane wants to stop coaching this team. I don't. If there's one thing that I don't want to say can throw a wrench in this because I'm going to talk about it, but if you ask Lane, he wants to go until the season's over. Whether a decision's made beforehand or not, regardless of that, he wants to coach this team. So if Ole Miss allows him, if Ole Miss allows Lane Kiffin to coach the Egg Bowl and to coach the playoffs, guys, there's a chance that he's hired somewhere and that it's public and that he's still the head coach of Ole Miss, kind of like Scott Frost and that whole situation that he had. Now, I don't know if Ole Miss will do that, but the balls are in their court. Pause. Lane Kiffin's balls are in Ole Miss's court on what he wants to do from a coaching aspect. I don't think that they can win it. just in general, with or without Lane Kiffin. I also don't think that Ole Miss believes that they can make a push at all without Lane Kiffin. I have no idea what Ole Miss is going to do here. But there is a realistic chance from the Florida side of things and the LSU side of things that, guys, quite frankly, if they allow him to coach during the playoffs, he could be your head coach and not be in here until mid-January, which is okay. Everybody's got to lock things down. This is an unprecedented situation. It is an unprecedented situation. You know, Nick Saban said something the other day, and he didn't want to get detailed. Like, as an example, he knew that when his final year was here, that it was his final year. Because everything was too aligned for Alabama when it came to hiring Kalen DeBoer for everybody not to know and keep a lid on Nick Saban retiring. You see what I'm saying? And that happened after Kalen DeBoer was done with his national title. You have a national title game. Nick Saban retires spontaneously. He said, I just woke up one day and want to retire. You mean the most meticulous guy and meticulous coach of all time just woke up one day and said, I'm retiring? That was his quote when he walked away. No, that's not true. They did that because they didn't want to ruin the guy that they wanted to be as their next head coach for those things to get out of there. So Jimmy gets with Nick, gets with Alabama. Listen, this is my last season. I'm sure the playoff committee knew it and why they kicked out Florida State and put in Alabama. Nick Saban's final ride here. Regardless of what happens, I'm done. It was unprecedented then. But they played it out to make the calendar, which that was only a 4-team playoff, to happen. I look at this situation that there is a chance. I don't think I don't think Ole Miss does it. But there is a chance that Lane Kiffin hired anywhere, because he might not be in that building and you might not have a press conference until January the 10th. There's that likelihood. The reason I think that there is that likelihood is I don't trust Ole Miss in this situation. You had to have a meeting about you had a meeting about a meeting that's going to happen in a week. Yeah, spare me. So is Ole Miss going to tell him to take the hike after the Egg Bowl? Guys, I will be honest, I have no idea. But either he's going to coach this thing out, and if he's your next head coach, you're not going to have him until January 10th, which quite honestly doesn't bother me as long as we have that decision. Or you get to a place where, guys, this thing is done by Saturday, and you're going into Norman, Oklahoma, and you know who your next head coach is going to be. Or you're starting to get information. Or Lane Kiffin stays or he goes to Florida. I think you're going to know, is what I'm saying. You know, like we talked about last Thursday, guys, I don't think that you're going to find out anything on Friday. That was the ultimate conversation. They're not going to fire his ass because he wants to coach. And LSU's not going to say anything because, listen, we don't want to piss off Lane. Florida's not going to say anything because they don't want to piss off Lane. Look, you can coach the Egg Bowl for all we care. We don't care. And then Ole Miss is like, well, we can't suspend him or fire him then because LSU's letting him and Florida's letting him do whatever he wants. It's going to get tricky. Now, if you want my opinion, here it is. My opinion is that you're going to get an answer by Saturday, potentially Sunday. That would be my thought. That is my opinion. Guys, these things change in a blink. What happens today, what we talk about today, can change tomorrow. This is an opinion, not sourced or anything. I think Saturday somebody's going to know who their next head coach is. And Lane's going to make the decision. And you're going to either buy out a contract or Florida's going to buy out a contract, and off you go. And I don't think they're going to let him coach. Now, if Lane Kiffin forces their hand, If Lane Kiffin forces, I'm not going anywhere until I'm done, then Ole Miss might have to fire him. And you start getting into a really big chess game, because why would LSU spend the $6 million, the $8 million to buy him out? Why would they do it? Lane's buyout's a little bit different. You're not paying the $30 million. People see buyouts. If they get fired, they're owed the big buyout. When you pay for a coach for him to leave, it's actually a smaller buyout. I don't know how it's going to play out. I really don't. I think it's going to be an all-out war, because if Lane wants to stay and he wants to continue to coach, and he tells both LSU and Florida, I'm not giving you an answer until they tell me I can't coach here anymore. If he wants to play hardball, then this could get even messier. I don't think all that's going to happen. I think they're going to tell him, listen, man, we're going to suspend you, and this is the legal ground that we're going to do it. You can fight it in court. And when you fight it in court, it's, by the time that we get to any kind of hearing or anything like that, the playoffs is going to be over. And Lane's going to walk. I don't know where he's going to walk to. But I do think all of this is played out. And I think that they know. I don't know if Lane completely knows where he is going yet. But I think that there is a decision by Ole Miss on how they want this to play out. And I think that they're going to try to let him walk. I don't know. I do not know who their interim's going to be. I'm not an Ole Miss guy. I'm only focused on Lane Kiffin here. But Lane was asked, do you want to coach this team? He was asked by Brad Logan, do you want to be the winningest coach of Ole Miss? Guys, he wants to go for it. And I believe him. Everybody in this process has gotten one thing massively wrong, that Lane Kiffin hasn't changed. I'm not buying that. The Lane Kiffin of old would have already left, or would have already done this differently. Guys, go look at how he left Tennessee. He didn't do that one right. LSU and Florida are massively after him. Two bigger programs. He wants to stay, and I believe him. But he also wants to go because he knows it's a better job. I don't blame him. I just don't blame him. I think I look at a guy like Lane Kiffin, who's always wanted to coach one of these blue bloods, and that has been a dream of his. Guys, you all have dreams. You might not achieve them. But what is a dream of something that you've always wanted to do? Guys, I'm living out mine. I suggest that you all go live out yours. You want to do hunting videos. You want to be a guide. You want to be a ballet dancer, for all I give a damn. Go do it. Nobody's stopping you. I think this is over by Friday, Saturday. In the meantime, the question that you all probably came in for is, do I think he's coming here? Is it over? Is all the message board chatter? Is it, what are your thoughts on it? Guys, I see it. Everybody sees it. I just think it's too premature. I do. I think it's premature in the sense of that I think Florida's going to continue to counter here, and they're going to continue to negotiate. I do think by Wednesday this gets really interesting, because I do think LSU and Florida want an answer. They want an answer. So you have Lane being pressured by wanting to go in the playoff and Ole Miss telling him to stay, and LSU and Florida want an answer. Are we going to get the answer that we want? I haven't brought this up all coaching carousel when it comes to Lane Kiffin, but I'll end it on this before we get to some super chats. PTSD is not the right way to say it, because there are people that struggle with PTSD that I don't mean this in a derogatory way. I just don't know how else to say this. The Tom Herman, Lincoln Riley thing for me, that whole situation does give me PTSD in the sense of I've heard you say a lot of shit before from the LSU side of things. Now, I hear things from the LSU side of things. Then I call nationally, and it's not the same tune that you're talking. Can LSU close? Which is the only thing that matters. One thing today that I learned is that, do I think that Lane has a pretty good idea of where he wants to go? Yes. Do I think anybody knows that besides himself, Jimmy Sexton, at this exact moment, even his family? No. And the reason I say that is he did not tell his family that he was going to Auburn until he had already made the decision with him and Jimmy. This is going to start getting interesting, very interesting by Wednesday. Very. Whether you have a decision by then or not, hell, the timeline can move up. The timeline could be tomorrow for all I know. I do think it's Wednesday that happens. All right. Back up. No one knows. No one, I don't think a formal decision has been completely made. I think that LSU has gotten some answers that they like, and I think Florida has as well. And as this goes on, two sides collide here. I will just say this. I do not feel this way, but I feel like LSU as a whole and the people that I talk about feel very confident. I am not there with them. I'm also not in those meetings. So we'll see. All right. Let me get to a quick break. We'll come back and get super chats. We'll kind of recap the game a little bit here. LSU got some really bad injuries. Shout out to Blake Baker and his defense. We'll all talk about that next. Stay with us. Guys, let me tell you about our good friends over at Grand Slam Heating and Air, where your comfort is their top priority. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they promise to provide customers with high-quality HVAC service at an affordable price while ensuring the homeowner peace of mind. From their office to your home, they guarantee the best hassle-free experience around. Efficiency and comfort is their game. Let them make your home Grand Slam today. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they're offering their annual maintenance plan starting off at $18.75 a month and also doing those $99 tune-up promotion. They provide free estimates for system and ductwork replacement, as well as offering financing to get the job done with no money up front. From Baton Rouge to Hammond to Covington, they're all around. So what you need to do today, give them a call at 225-380-9065. That's 225-380-9065. Or go over to the website, getgrandslamair.com. That's getgrandslamair.com, where your comfort is their top priority. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by.
We're back.
All right, let's get to a couple super chats here. I don't really know where we left off. Brandon, where did we leave off? Fuzzy? Okay. Fuzzy was with a $2 super chat, says 985, home of the real gumbo. That one's not going to get you a lot of friends, Fuzzy. It's not going to get you a lot of, I mean, Homa's in the 985, y'all. Shout out to Danny's Fried Chicken. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. Thank you for joining us. Stephen Young with a $5 super chat says Drink is like 0-16 versus top 25 teams. He's BK 2.0. Can't hire that guy. We would revolt. You know, I've thought about that, Stephen. And he brings up here, he says, we'll make Tennessee, Shiano, A&M Stoops look like child's play if the LSU tries to hire Drink. I agree. I agree. I think that y'all will do that. I wouldn't disagree with you. Brandon, let's clear up the picture. Yep. Guys, stand by. Stephen, I'm coming right back. Stand by. Brandon, bring me up. Okay, we're back. All right. Well, it's fuzzy on my end. So, Stephen, I do think that that is a possibility. Yes. I do think that that's a possibility. Yes. I do. I really do. Buddha Cheese with a $2 super chat says, just wanted to pop in and say what's up, my brother. Yeah, Buddha doing a podcast now. Y'all need to go over there and listen to it. Thank you, man. Arctic Tiger says, Knox Kiffin enrolled at U High for January. Yeah, a lot of people have said that. I don't think he's enrolled. Not yet. $20 super chat from Richie Roche says, let's go. Can't wait for this to be over and know what's going on. Yeah, Richie, I don't disagree with you. You know, like this has been a very drawn out process. That's why I need everybody to do me two favors. Go over to FanDuel Sportsbook, download the app. Download it today. We got a lot of rivalry games going on in college football. Bet on all of them. And we're always proud to be partnered by FanDuel. I'm ready for there to be a conclusion. I am. And I think you get it this week. Omar the Tiger with the second thing I know. I do think you get a conclusion this week. Second thing I know is that everybody hits that subscribe button down below. That's what I know. But I think it's over by this week. I think you know. Omar the Tiger says Lane Kiffin should come on here this week and announce it with a super chat. Start the LSU relationship off right with AOIS Sports. I agree. If Lane, there's no better way. Omar the Tiger's right. There's no better way for Lane Kiffin to decide that he's going anywhere, just anywhere, whether it be LSU, staying in Ole Miss, or Florida, than to do it here. But if he comes to LSU, he's got to. He's got to. He 1,000% has to. I agree. You should do it, Lane. You should do it. It's the only way. The Bayou will never forget. $10 super chat by Optimistic says, Blake, you should do an episode with High Top Sports. He covers Florida, and he is a co-host. He and his co-host keep claiming UF is a better job in brand. Someone needs to debate them with facts. If they want to have me on, Optimistic, go tell them I don't. Let me phrase this in the right way. I 99.9% of the time don't deny anybody that asked me to come on their show, ever. I was in that spot. I had a lot of people stand me up when I started all of this. I'm not standing up people. Now, I might have to tell you no because I'm not available that day. Like, guys, Thanksgiving is a hell of a week. I might not be available at the time that you ask me. But I don't tell anybody no. So if they want to bring me on, they can. All right, we'll get to the rest of the super chats here in just a minute. Wanted to bring up a couple of things. Number one, I tweeted this out today in reference to LSU. I was doing show prep because I was going to talk about recapping Western Kentucky. There's some things we'll talk about that in just a moment. But this is an appreciation podcast, I guess, but appreciation segment for Blake Baker. Guys, and what this defense has done. You know, when we previewed the season, a main talking point that I had was I thought that what I had seen based off of just preseason spring camp and fall camp, that I thought that this was a top 30 unit. Now, I thought the edge room from a sack level perspective would be a lot better than what it has been. But overall, I thought from what I saw in spring, and go listen to any preview show, especially with me and Carter that we had, I thought this would be a top 30 unit. I thought that they could crack some areas of being a top 10 to 15 unit in the country, and that they have. Because this season's going to go a lot like 2023 in a lot of ways, where I think that this defense and the level of just overall great play that they've had, they've done a lot of really good things. Because there's been a lot of teams this season with really good defenses that have actually played teams that have not been able to contain everything. They've had struggles against Vandy. They had struggles against A&M. A&M's really the only game, though, that I look at them and say, you didn't give your team a chance. Like holding Ole Miss the way that they held them in a lot of ways when your offense was that bad was really impressive. Same with Alabama. Same against Arkansas, that's a top 10 offense in the country statistically. I look at this past week with a really good group of 5 team, and I know people don't want to hear that, but that's true. They were a top 10 unit passing coming into that game, and you manhandled them without your best corner. I just wanted to send an appreciation segment for what Blake Baker and this defense has done. What I tweeted out was, and I just listed off all of the key stats here. Guys, this defense this season has been 23rd in the country in total defense. They're 30th in the country in passing defense. They're 31st in the country in run defense. They're 28th in the country in third down defense. Guys, and the biggest statistic of all, they're borderline top 15 in scoring defense. They're 16th in the country in scoring defense. So even when I just look at the scoring defense alone, when I look at LSU and just look at how many points that they're averaging giving up per this season, guys, the regular season's almost done. You got one more game left. Where this team was defensively in 2023 to where they are right now is a complete 180. The only problem is that the offense completely reverted to how bad the 2023 defense was, and the offense converted to just, quite frankly, how good this defense is right now. Guys, you're top 20 in the country and not allowing points. With your brutal schedule, that's a top 15 strength of schedule in the country. Are you going to give up points? Or is there going to be a unit that's able to get after you and just a bad matchup for you? Yeah, it's happened. But guys, the entire season, you're top 16 in the country in scoring defense. Sacks, as an example, too, you're 32nd in the country, averaging around 2.5 per game. Guys, you're 10th in the country in interceptions this year. You have 14 interceptions on the season. Your DB room has been freaking amazing. Safety play has been really good. Corner play has been really good. You had the best corner. And it all brings me to this. Number one, and before I get to another thought here, Blake Baker deserves a lot of credit. I don't know if Blake Baker is going to continue to be the defensive coordinator at LSU. That I have no clue. Regardless of all of that, Blake Baker is one of the best defensive coordinators in the entire country. What he has done and what he has done moving forward with this defense of how bad they were in 2023 is simply amazing. Guys, he had a lot of really shitty stuff that he had to work with. He had to get the players. And, guys, you might very well end up as a top 25 defense when the regular season's over and done with. That's where you can be. It's an appreciation tweet and segment for Blake Baker, who I don't know what his future holds. I don't know what his future holds. But the bottom line is Blake Baker's going to land somewhere and still be one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. I know Blake Baker probably doesn't want to uproot his family again, and for that, I understand it. I get that. That's a tough position to be in. Hey, man, you're one of the best defensive coordinators in the country, and because of just lack of recruiting and lack of coaching and lack of overall personnel offensively, there is a chance you get fired. at LSU again. Guys, he's been really good. He gave Lane a lot of struggles when Garrett Nussmeier and company could barely pass the 50-yard line. And you want to hire Lane Kiffin. Guys, he's held Lane Kiffin's offenses to below 25 points twice. The justification that I would just say here is, I don't know if he should be let go. Now, if you want to bring in a lot of people of your own, Lane Kiffin's brother as an example, if it is Lane, I mean, I do 1,000% believe that Lane's brother is going to be on his staff. What position or title he holds, I have absolutely no clue there. I don't. Does Pete Golding want to follow? And I think Lane would go with Pete Golding. But Blake Baker, man, one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. His turnaround has been amazing. In all of this chaos, you had a bad game versus A&M. You had a really good game against Bama, man. And it's not his fault the offense sucks. I think they're better than their overall statistics. I do. But shout out to Blake Baker and how good this defense has been. The thought I had in this, I'm going to take this a completely different angle on this. I was going to recap the game. Guys, I don't know what you want me to tell you. I think that right now, when we have these conversations, look at the key guys that you think they're going to return, potentially DJ Pickett, PJ Woodland. Look at your defensive line in the interior, especially with Don McKinley and Ahmad Bro. Some of these young backers like Zach Weeks, does Whit Weeks come back? I don't know. You had Deshaun Spears, who I thought had a really big game. It's kind of coming into his own a little bit here. And you see the core pieces that you have defensively, some of the core pieces you have offensively. Because one thing is for sure, coming out of the Blake Baker conversation of how you completely revamped this defense to being a top 25 defense in the country, well, what did you do to get there? Brian Kelly said one thing that was 1,000% true. Guys, this defense is really good, and we have to give Blake Baker the tools. He was right. You did, and you're a top 25 defense. With all of the bad offensive shit that went on, how good could this team have been defensively if you're not having multiple 3-and-outs and you have a pulse and you could run the football? Guys, could they be top 15? I think they could. I think A&M still gets over on them some, but if LSU can actually balance the game offensively and score in the second half, who knows what would have happened? Guys, offensively, more than just a coaching problem, you have a personnel problem. You have a development problem. I do see a lot of raw talent. I see when I look at the offensive line, like Ori Williams, Carius Kern, Braylon Moore, I guess. I mean, he's been nicked up. I think you have a good core nucleus coming back. You know what I mean? Like, I really do. Guys, I think that wide receiver room up top needs to be revamped. I think you need to start giving some of these younger guys like Destin Hill's not really young, but I think you need to start giving Manchild more reps, Phillip Wright more reps. I mean, what you've done to Chris Hilton is borderline criminal, to be blunt with you. Barryon Brown's top 3 in the SEC in drops, and Chris has 1, and you just keep doing that. Personnel is a problem. Personnel is a problem. Coaching's been a massive problem too, but personnel has been an issue. That same personnel, though, I think there are spots where it can be developed in a right way and be really freaking good. I think Carius Kern's going to be a really good player. I think he's going to be a really good player. I think Manchild's going to be a really good player. But I think your wide receivers coach, quite honestly, should have been out of the door with Joe Sloan. I do. I think he should have been 1,000% out of the door. You got a complete rebuild. You're going to have to do what you did on the defensive side of the ball to some extent. It might take you some time to do it. You got to go get some offensive linemen. You got to go get some, excuse my French here, you got to go get some motherfuckers. You do. You got to go get some players. You can't go get poodles. Isn't that the analogy? I look at Western Kentucky. I had a whole thing brought up here. Like, I love DJ Pickett. I love PJ Woodland. I think your offensive line sucked. I thought your wide receiver room sucked. I thought your quarterback was, quite honestly, trying to make throws and also was not great either. But Michael Van Buren has no business throwing the ball 47 times. You know, there were 2 instances in the game where you didn't run the ball for 10 straight plays. And Frank's a running backs coach. At least attempt it. It's just been completely mismanaged. It's still being mismanaged. Guys, you have a personnel problem just like a coaching problem. And I think that nobody wants to rip that Band-Aid off. You're not good. You're just not. I wanted to talk about the whole thing, but I think we're all too grown here to lie to one another. Guys, you see it. It's not good. I mean, Brad Davis will not be retained. Cortez Hankton will not be retained, nor do they deserve to be. I mean, Frank is the only one that I could say it. And listen, Frank's battle for this job right now, whether it be on-field staff or a head coach, the simple question that I heard that Frank Wilson's been asked in all this process is, how are you at LSU? How are you Frank Wilson? How do you not have a running back committed for the 2026 class? It's a question he's going to answer. I bring this up too. By the way, red zone defense for Blake Baker, which I just completely missed, even though I got 7 stars next to it. You know, you're 4th in the country in red zone defense. 4th. Blake Baker is the complete opposite of Joe Sloan. I've just never seen a team this bad in the red zone. Now, offensively, I've never seen it. To have an opposite where you have a top 5 unit in the red zone. It's absolutely insane, man. It's absolutely insane. All right, let's get to a couple of super chats here before we get out of here. William and Adam both became members on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much. We will have some content out for you guys tomorrow on the members only channel. Semper with a $5 super chat says, Lane ... quit playing games with my heart. With my heart. Yes, Semper, I get it. I get it. It's a great song. It's a great song. Backstreet Boys. Get some Steve Weisers and listen to some Backstreet Boys. If you are a wrestling fan in the Attitude Era, you know exactly what I'm talking about. TigerBait24 with a $5 super chat says, if Lane Kiffin signs with LSU, can he change the team back into a playoff contender in his first year? This is what I'm going to say to that. No. No. In the first year, I will just say no. Could it happen? Yes. Will it happen? No. Like, could he Indiana the thing? Maybe. You got to hit on a lot of shit. Guys, you got to rebuild. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No. It's going to take him a while, and you're going to have to give Lane time. Guys, listen to me. Let's just say you get him for just a second. He is the best in-game play caller in the country offensively. Everybody keeps asking me, why is he worth $14 million? Because he's the best at his job offensively. They could not run the ball last year to save their life. His running back leads the country in touchdowns the next season from a guy that got cut. He is the best offensive mind in the game, without a doubt. And here's the biggest lie about Lane Kiffin offensively. Do they run tempo? Yes. Do they punch you in the mouth running the football? Have they always? Yes. Yes. Quinshon Judkins, Kawan Lacey, the biggest lie is about Lane Kiffin is that they don't run the ball. Brother, it's all they do. It's all they do. If LSU, and this is in the Brian Kelly era, this is where I was wrong on something. The number one area that I thought that Brian Kelly would dominate in being at LSU would be, oh, man, we're going to really be physical as shit. That's what I thought when he got hired. Look, Notre Dame's Notre Dame. They still have some of the same problems, though, does Notre Dame. Even when Brian Kelly was there, they don't want to admit that, but they do. The just bottom line truth is, I thought that we were going to be a physical freaking team, and we weren't. We were soft as frick. We were fucking soft. Nobody wants to talk about this. The biggest hire outside of your head coach is your strength and conditioning coordinator. You're too soft. Stephen Young with a $5 super chat says, I want Lane, but I want Dillingham just as much. One is shrouded in drama, the other isn't. Kenny's had his fair share. Now, he's been asked like 7 times if he's leaving, and he keeps saying no. Why ain't you signing an extension? He's just quieter, but he's also not Lane Kiffin. Will on YouTube with a $5 super chat says, will you do a full breakdown what is happening on the back end on some things you couldn't talk about at this time if we do get him? Yes. When we hire or we don't hire Lane Kiffin, the Band-Aid comes off, yes. Completely comes off. Right now, you got to be a little cautious. Simper, with a 2, like, I'll give... Nah. No, it's not worth it. Some of the stories that are out, I'll just say this. Some of the stories that are out that people have said it's just speculation is not speculation. You will take that and say, oh, Blake kind of hinted at it. It was a done deal. I am not. I'm just saying some of the storylines in this are 1,000% accurate that have been somewhat proven. Semper says Baker has one weakness, running quarterbacks. Yeah, he does. But look, man, I mean, listen, they've been overall really good with how shitty this offense has been. Guys, this is the worst offense I've seen in LSU history, in my opinion, from a foundation standpoint. Like, again, I'm going to – look, people just say I just defend Chris Hilton, whatever. Chris has got to catch the football. He can't fumble the football. But you deceived him through portal politics. You started him all spring. You started him all fall. And the first chance you got to throw Barryon Brown in there, you did. And he's third in the SEC in drops. I mean, guys, he's just not a good player. And you blame Chris for one because you want to be right and you keep ramming your head up against the wall and you were wrong. Guys, listen to me. There's 7,662 of you in here live right now. I have been wrong. I will be wrong again. It's okay to admit it. It's okay to be a person because if you're watching this, you're going to be wrong in something. If you're on the air as much as I'm on the air, you're going to be wrong about something. It's okay to admit it and do the right thing. Steven says Baker will be Tulane's head coach, and there's nothing LSU can do about it. The $5 super chat. Maybe he will. If John Summerall leaves, maybe that will be the path that they go. They'll be a really good team too. So we'll see. Stephen Young with a $5 super chat says LSU should hire Pittman as the O-line coach. I think Pittman wants to go to his camp and drink beer. And he just replaced a hip. I don't think Sammy P. I think he's going to retire. He said he was going to retire. I don't blame him. David Mitchell with a $5 super chat says, do you think Baker would look or get a look at head coach? I think you'd have to go a lot down the list, to be blunt with you. Do I think it's a possibility? Yes. But here's my thing. Why didn't you name him the interim? I'm going to have a real problem with this administration if you hired Frank Wilson as the interim, and then you hire Blake Baker. Because Blake could have gotten his chance here. He could have gotten his chance. I'm going to be really pissed off. Not that Blake Baker's your head coach. I'm going to be really, 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 really pissed off that you didn't announce him the interim and you were considering him, because that means you had gone through a lot of people. You didn't give your current head coach a shot here to kind of get his legs up under him and get the team up under him and get the culture up under him. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's even if LSU would have went 0-4 and you would have hired Blake Baker, you weren't going to, but just hypothetically, if you did, I would have still liked that than being in a situation of then you just hiring him and not giving him a shot. Offensively, as the head coach, would they have looked different? You see what I'm saying? I think there's a chance, but I'm going to be really pissed at this administration. Because, guys, just quite frankly, I mean, you get where I'm coming at here. I mean, you should have given him the chance there. Slim Pocket 11 became a member on the YouTube channel. Thank you, Slim Pocket. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right. Going to start getting interesting here. We'll keep you updated on everything. Till tomorrow, y'all have a good night. Peace.